Okay, so here we are for another Inspired Good Fat Life podcast. And I have to say that my heart is like beating almost out of my chest because it's been such an exciting morning and there's so many cool things happening. And I just want to start and say, yeah, the cool things happening. We're at Good Fat Life. We're putting out a new magazine in August, and it's just coming together beautifully. And it's just I'm just inspired. I guess I interview people that inspire me. And the other thing is we have a workshop coming out in October, and I went to a yoga retreat this past. So Tammy Rism, who is on the cover of our Good Fat Life magazine, had a yoga retreat this last weekend, and I went to it, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, what came out of that was just pretty cool. But couple things. So my topic today is on that one thing that keeps showing up that you just don't want to have that conversation again. And so, as some of you may know or not know, I have a consulting company, and in my business, there'll be conversations with my clients, and it's just that the topic will come up. It's an employee that's not showing up big or creating havoc, or the supplier or something where there's a conversation that happens over and over, and we all know where those are. And I finally just have to say, I don't want to have this conversation again. And I thought it was in my meditations, it came up. It's like, well, where are those conversations you're having with yourself that you just don't want to have again? It's like, it's time. And for me, it's around movement. And that is why I am so excited about my guest today. Her name is Dawn. Dawn, help me with your last name.
Gaden.
Gaden. And the reason that I don't know Dawn's last name by heart is that we just actually met this morning at a health and wellness networking over at the Brighton Lighthouse, which is in Brighton, which is just phenomenal. And I kind of knew that I was prepared to talk myself about my movement, what's showing up for me around movement. And there was Dawn, and it was like, I just felt like I had to ask if she would be available today, and she is. We have her for like 15 minutes, and I'm just so delighted. So welcome, Dawn.
Things align. I love it. It's so good to be here.
It just is. So tell our audience about your company and why it was just important for you to be here today.
I'm Dawn Gaden. My company is Body Counseling and Coaching, and I'm a licensed counselor. So I've been doing this for over 22 years, okay. And I see clients privately, as well as I'm building out my coaching program because I'm a self-image coach as well. And I'm finding that more people need to be served, and there's only so many hours in the day. And so I'm building this group program, and the foundation of this program is my practice I teach called intenSati. It's a mindful, intentional practice. It's, if you think of dance, martial arts, yoga, all in one. So it's a high vibe, high energy movement practice, low intensity. So it's good for the body. And we incorporate meditation, intention setting, mindfulness. And the key is powerful, positive words, because we're changing who we are. We're changing bad habits into good habits.
And building those neural pathways, right?
Correct.
New neural pathways.
Yes.
So I love it. And so I said, the conversation I don't want to have with myself anymore is around movement. And I ditched the words exercise years ago because it just feels like when people say budget. I mean, who wants to do a budget? But if you talk about, funding the life you want to create, then it's a whole different, it's fun, right?
Yes.
And if we talk about movement that energizes and revitalizes and all those things with our body, it's a whole different thing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So to get the conversation, never have to have that conversation again. So I started Pilates last week, 3 times a week. And so far I'm in week 2, all good.
Yes.
And it really feels good. But what I'm finding is there's a couple things is I need community. And I want to hear about the community you're creating, because that's really important. I need to show up where there's people, and it needs to be movement that feels good.
Yes.
Right? So my body's really sore today because I did go to this yoga retreat also Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and there was hot yoga involved, which I've never done. And if I'd known that in advance, I don't know, because I literally had sweat going up my nose and in my ears, and I don't like to sweat. But I still feel amazingly calm and energized this week in ways I just haven't for a while. So tell me more. I just love what you were talking about.
Movement. Movement is so important. We need to move the body, and of course, different levels of movement, right? So what's right for one person may not be where another person is at. And that's what I love about the intenSati practice, because it's movement with affirmations. So you follow along with me and you move. I'll give you a couple examples. So I've had someone come to class before and they say, well, I want to try out your class, but I can't really stand for an hour. I want to sit. I said, great, let's pull in a chair. So she sat and she just moved her arms works.
To the music.
To the music, to the affirmations, to my following along with me, you just move your arms. And then I had another person come to a class, and she stands out. She's just phenomenal. You could feel her energy. She did absolutely none of the moves I was instructing. She was just dancing and moving her body and shouting the affirmations. And she's like, I hope you don't care. I said, no, you're moving your body and we're connecting, because the whole point is to connect emotionally, spiritually, physically, and mentally.
Right.
Who we are. And so if it means you have to sit in a chair, if it means you have to move in different ways, it doesn't matter. If it means you're saying the affirmations inside rather than just saying them out loud, that's okay too.
So one of the things I found, this at the yoga class, right? It was workshop. It was 2 hours. Well, I can't do 2 hours of powerful yoga. I'm just not. It's not what I do. But I found there were times I would just lay on the mat and enjoy. But the community was so supportive.
Yes.
And it sounds like that's what you're creating, is that there's just no judgment.
There's no judgment.
It's
right.
Celebrating that you're there, we're together.
Right.
And we're nurturing ourselves and
yes,
in a way that's just very powerful.
Yes, exactly. I've had experiences like that where I was in Colorado one year and I didn't do so well with the elevation.
Okay.
And I thought, one of my things I do when I travel is find a yoga studio.
Okay.
I'm a yoga teacher as well.
Okay.
And I haven't, so a lot of my
So you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, yes. And so I'll go to a yoga studio in different towns because I want to try out, I like the new experience.
Sure.
But with the elevation that time in Colorado, on my head, nothing felt good. So I went to the class. I thought, well, yoga will feel good. I'm used to yoga. I stayed in child's pose the entire class.
Okay.
And it was okay. It was accepted.
Sure.
You know, sometimes you go to classes, not just yoga, but classes where you're sort of pushed to follow along. And this is similar to intenSati, where you won't be pushed to follow along. If you want to do the one move the entire class, great. I've had people go, I want to be in the back of the room, Dawn. This is new for me. That's okay. It's new for everybody. And then all of a sudden they're like, this is really cool. This is fun. And I didn't even know how to count the music. I didn't know what my arms were doing. I'm like, but you had fun, right? Yes,
Right.
That was really fun. Because really isn't that part of it, is having fun? We kind of lose that later in life. We forget to add the fun into what we're doing.
Right.
You have to have fun.
Right. No, it's so true. And I was reading that, children laugh over 400 times a day, and the average adult laughs it takes 40 days for us to laugh 400 times. And when you were talking about your class in the group this morning, I just thought, oh my gosh, I want to have this experience. So tell us, what does a class look like? Okay.
So here's what it looks like. You'll come into class, you'll have a seat, you bring your yoga mat,
Okay.
Have a seat, and I will give a little bit of information or intention setting for the class. There's a theme each month. So this month in August, in class for August, is going to be about being in the present moment.
Okay.
Is really being still and being present, what that looks like, and what it looks like when we're not, and how to catch ourselves to keep us present. And then we lead into breath and movement. So a nice gentle movement with breath. And we add in some affirmations. And you follow along, you repeat after me. So it's pretty simple. But it's a little bit slower so you can move and warm up the body. And then we go into the high energy movement. There's 16 moves, 16 affirmations, and we break them down into 4. So there's 4 blocks of 4.
Okay.
I take you through that. We have a great time. We laugh. We take a little water break in between when we need it. And then at the end, we do a lower body stretch. And all of this has music that's tied with the energy that we want to create in the room. And the lower body at the end is, again, it's slower, more yoga poses and breath and affirmations. And we end with a really nice meditation.
Sign me up.
Yes.
Sign me up. So, and you were saying how about the brain forming the pathways in our brain, how your class does that.
Yes.
Can you talk about that for a minute?
Oh, yes. So we get stuck in this rut of I can't do it, or I'm depressed, or I'm anxious, or whatever it is. And typically when I work with clients, it's I explain it like a rut, right? We've created this groove in the brain. These neural pathways have connected, and they've been fed this story for so long, and we know we want out of it. We know we want better. We know and we believe there's something different. So this class helps us to practice the new. So these powerful words, I'm stronger today, I'm better in every way, I'm inspired to be the best that I can be. We're going to repeat 16 different affirmations similar to that, and that starts getting the brain to rewire. And in class is the practice. It's just like, say, the 1 hour. But I've had clients over and over say, I left and those affirmations were in my brain all day long. Yes.
Right.
And I've had another person say, well, I've had this project I've been working on, or actually procrastinating on for months. And after taking intenSati class, the very first time I went home and completed the project. It changes the chemistry in the brain. It gets us excited.
Right.
We have fun, and we start to think differently, and differently in ways we didn't realize we could, because we get stuck in that rut.
Right.
But the brain, we know, science shows we can create new neural pathways at any age.
Yes. Thank heavens, right?
Yes,
right.
It's not over till it's over.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's so exciting. Well, I just love it. I love your whole energy and what you're doing. And it sounds like moving is fun. And I was reading I had planned on doing the podcast myself today if a miracle didn't happen and then you showed up. But I was prepared, and I found this article that was lovely. I mean, it was all evidence-based, because it's important to me that it's, if it's my opinion, I'll let you know. And if it's evidence-based, I'll let you know that as well. And there were like 27 different reasons why movement is important. And the ones that I can just remember, it's like, they're all, our bodies were designed to move, and it supports our, health and wellness, our overall mental health. It keeps us we can get, and I use these words kind of deliberately, is there's so many diseases that we can get from sitting. And, it was diabetes and cancer and varicose veins and depression and, on and on and on. And there were like 27 of them, and they all are tied to sitting and not moving. And so I, have my watch now beeps at me every hour to get up and at least run up and down the stairs, because I'm on Zoom a lot.
Right.
Yes. It's those little things. And even the Pilates, I absolutely love that 50 minutes of Pilates 3 times a week. But even the days I know that I do that, it's not like I'm done moving.
Right.
Right?
Right, yes.
And the old me would go, okay, I've done it. I can sit for the rest of the day. And not like, oh, I can sit. It's just more, I don't have to be mindful. And so I'm learning.
Mindful is the key. Being consciously awake in your life. And that's like a big thing about what I teach is we need to wake up, right? We kind of sleepwalk through life. We kind of go on autopilot, and then we wake up and go, oh, again. It's like, no, we can create.
Right.
Consciously create our life. And it's those mindful moments, a little bit at a time. I've often taught intenSati at summits or events where I just, I've stepped in and done the intenSati to get people moving between speakers as well.
Okay, yeah.
And what's come back to me is just 3 minutes, like just 3 minutes, I feel so different the rest of the day. And whether it's intenSati or walking or jumping jacks or something, it's like, it doesn't take all day. And we have to remember too, I think we have a tendency, and I'm not sure why, to be like the all or nothing. I got to do it all, or nope, that's not true. Just decide it's not true. A minute works. Like your watch says, get up and move. Okay, I'm going to move. I'm just going to move. I'm going to go up and down the steps. I'm going to walk outside in my bare feet in the grass, which I love to do. Look at my flowers, and then I'll come back in. Just a couple minutes.
It makes such a difference.
Yes. Changes the energy, just interrupts I don't know if I want to say negative, because sometimes we don't know we're negative, but it interrupts the sleeping. So it wakes us up, right?
Wakes us up, right.
Wakes us up. And not just sleeping in the body, but in the brain. Like we're on this automatic unconscious. We want to be consciously living. So it wakes us up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically.
Go move. Mm-hmm. So I know, I told Dawn before we sat down, I go, we could sit here for 3 hours and talk because there's so much to talk about. Excuse me. And I just kind of sprung this on her. And so she's got another commitment. And so we're going to have to say goodbye. And we will post her contact information on our social pages as we do. And I want to take just a quick moment to do a shout out to our sponsor, Hands on Health. Dr. Adam Rushford is my chiropractor, and I actually have an appointment today because I've been doing so much movement that it's, I feel it. But I'm so grateful to have Dr. Rushford in my life because I know he's going to get me back in my spine and neck, back in alignment. And the truth is, I love going to their office. The energy there, the vibe is so positive and fun to be at, is that I always walk out kind of with song in my heart. So thank you to Dr. Rushford and Hands on Health. And thank you to you, Dawn, for being here.
Thank you. I'm so glad we met today.
What a trooper. Right. Okay. And so I invite our listeners to check out goodfatlife.com and to go out and continue living your good fat life. Thank you.